Oh, welcome back. We are back with another look at the 1991 Marvel Trading Card set from Impel. Brett here.
Henry.
Chris, and be sure to watch the Heroes segment.
Yes, we just wrapped up the Heroes, looking at the 1991 set, and we're about to dump into the villains here. Not as many villains as there are heroes in this set, because we talked about last time. This is a face territory. In the late 80s, early 90s, you were buying comic books because of the heroes. It's really not until some of the weirder, big
anti-heroes will take over soon, but not just yet.
It was when hope was more important than angst.
Yeah,
I can't even remember it. It was so
and
long ago.
we're not at a point yet where things like Onslaught, Executioner's Song, Infinity Gauntlet. Infinity Gauntlet is happening as these cards are coming out, but like these are things that are led by the villains and make you wonder what the villains do. What is Magneto doing? Where is he? And instead, you were like, I'm buying comics because I want to see the heroes tear things up. Now we're going to take a look at the villains, and below us here we do actually have Chris's set of the 1991 card set.
Thanks for holding on to it, Bob.
And then a little preview of the third set there, but don't worry about those just yet. But what we're going to do now, is jump right into the villains here.
Bring on the bad guys, as Marvel would say.
Bring on the baddies. Wow. And we're at the Kingpin, card number 55.
Quite the one to start
Kingpin.
with. That is some Eric Larson-ass art there. He loves drawing smoking. You will see it in 3 different cards in this.
Man, he is smoking in his profile and in his full shot there.
Yeah, he's taking a drag on the front and blowing it out on the back.
But he went from being a large man to a somewhat heavyweight man to a man who is all muscle, who looks fat, to like a 2 linebackers tied together. Like that's what he is. He's that gigantic.
And he was imposing, but eventually, I don't know if at this point he's crushing people's heads with his enormous hands.
Yeah, he does similar things in the early Ghost Rider comics, like Ghost Rider number 2 or 3. He's like fighting, he's like training with ninjas, and the early Ghost Rider, Punisher, Spider-Man, Daredevil, they all kind of revolve around the same street stuff. And Kingpin was involved in all that.
The gargantuan gangland god, as he's described on the back there. His top thing is his intelligence, and that 3 strength doesn't compare too well to, say, Silver Surfer or the Hulk, but within the world of Daredevil, especially, that is very strong.
Yeah, 3 being, as you can see, I was looking at his intelligence there, which is 4, which is in that Spider-Man level. Very, very smart.
Yes, very smart.
But if you go down to, that's agility.
Which he shouldn't have any of.
Speed. Strength, he's what? Where is he? 3. So strength 3 is enhanced human, potentially up to 2 tons. And he doesn't have any like particular enhancement, right?
Yeah,
it's just he's
powers.
just that strong.
Well, he's huge.
The fall of the Kingpin storyline would be happening right after this, and when he would come back, he was honestly downgraded a little bit, because I think they realized, like, especially when Bendis took over, he's like, no, he's a burly fat guy. Like, he's Tony Soprano. He's not a giant monster man.
Yeah. And the whole Bendis Daredevil run of the early to mid 2000s, definitely like.
The only negative I'd say about this is that you should be able to see his diamond-topped cane, but he's holding on to the diamond, so you can't see it.
Dang.
Though he also has the diamond neck pin as his Did You Know? And it emits a powerful sleeping gas. Though when's he even going to need that?
Yeah, I'm up against the wall here. Time to put you to sleep. You're made of muscle.
I do like when Spider-Man just picks him up. They're like, all right, big boy, I'm Spider-Man. You've been fighting Daredevil too long. Like, look, I picked you up. You're nothing to me.
Yeah. Moving ahead is Sabretooth. And again, this is important to note. We are in that, we talked about it a lot last time with the heroes, but we're right before X-Men number 1, the blue and gold era, or, whatever you want to call that. But when X-Men became the 1992 animated series, all those redesigns, which included Sabretooth with the huge frill thing over him.
Yeah,
this is
and
still
a headband too.
Yeah, this is still his 70s Sabretooth design, and we also still don't know his name.
Yeah.
And it's
Liev Schreiber.
Peak mystery.
Yeah, he's still looking like his 70s design, as they show his first appearance was an Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. I always forget that.
It is a running thing I've talked about here, that Chris Claremont wrote things before X-Men, and then when he took over X-Men, he took back the things he liked in his old books. So he created just this wild, hairy man to fight Iron Fist in the mountains, and then he's like, you know what? That guy should fight Wolverine. And so it's just kind of tied together later.
But he never established like a familial relationship.
It was implied heavily for a long time he was Wolverine's dad. Then they rejected that.
Yeah.
But eventually it was.
Oh, it says it on the back. My bad.
It is rumored.
May actually be Wolverine's father. He's not.
They dropped that. Wolverine killed his dad. Killed his own dad as a child when his first claws popped out as a young little Howler. But this was the toy. This was the design I had as a toy. This is a Jim Lee one too, actually, based on that old face there. So we're up to 3 Jim Lees. But I much prefer his redesign that he'll get so soon.
And he gets like top heavier in that redesign too.
Well, because he needs to be burlier. You got to have more of a difference between him and Wolvie other than his size.
Yeah. Man, 6'6", 780 pounds. I don't know how that guy moves.
That's true.
Like,
you have to be at level 2 just to lift him.
And yet his agility is a 5, which is enhanced human beyond the natural limits of a human. And it's like, but you're 780 pounds. Man, came out right after Star Wars. That's crazy. But moving ahead, let's just get back to his famous shot there into 57, Magneto.
Yeah.
Standing in the ether.
Good old Mags, a kind of a lame shot of Maggie. It's a Rob Lim again, and you just kind of got the Kirby crackle behind him.
Oh yeah, I love the crackle.
Still not known as Eric Lencher, just nicknamed Magnus.
Wow.
But I mean his real, nickname Magnus back then. His Holocaust past was not recognized at this point yet.
Yeah, and Fatal Attraction is the last line. The X-Men have prevented mankind from falling victim to the Master of Magnetism's Fatal Attraction. That line would be the name of the storyline in mere months, really,
just a year later.
where he rips out Wolverine's adamantium skeleton.
Among many things, but that one stuck the most.
The highlight.
Yeah.
He's finally just like, you know what? I've let you stab me so many times.
Yeah.
Screw your metal. And Wolverine was without metal, without adamantium for close to a decade.
It was a while. What, Apocalypse gave it back or something?
Yeah,
like
because he had to make him. Well, actually, Sabretooth was given adamantium first, and then Apocalypse is like, you're a loser compared to Wolverine. I'm going to make Wolverine the god of war, or my horseman of war, or death, I forget which. And then he transferred Sabretooth's adamantium back onto Wolvie.
Wow.
That's what happened.
So many medical procedures.
He's got space medical procedures. I am shocked that the Did You Know is not that he's the father of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, since both of their cards mentioned it. But by this point, he had been a leader of the team, but he had gone back to a baddie at that point.
And it's crazy. We brought this up in the hero set, but this is the first villain to kind of get this across. Outside of his durability, which you don't really get, like his body is not like it's that durable. I don't think it's just more like his force fields and things he can put up.
Shit?
But nothing can touch him. It's very hard for anything to touch him.
But like the other thing is that this set, Series 2, does not factor in energy projection like Series, I think, 3 does. Maybe it's 4. But the ability for him to like make projectiles or beams or things like that is not really, illustrated anywhere in the chart. So you don't get a full scope of how powerful Magneto is. But it's like I mentioned before, when you have these characters whose powers are basic things like I control fire or ice or magnetism, it's like those are such broad implications that as decades go on and as there gets to be more science in the science fiction element of comic books, their powers get crazier where it might just be like I'm throwing girders at you or whatever, and now it's like I can remove the magnetic poles or whatever of the earth. Like
I saw an explanation that that his intelligence should be higher, like a 5 or a 6, because he did help invent Cerebro. That's pretty good.
Yeah, didn't he build Asteroid M or something?
And Asteroid M, so he's got some brains.
Yeah. But classic X-Men villain, one of the most famous, probably Marvel villains of all time.
Oh yes.
And here's arguably, I would say, the most famous Marvel villain.
Marvel villain? Might be.
Yeah. Who would you say is more popular than Venom? That you walk down the street, random person, and be like, show them 2 pictures of 2 heroes, 2 villains, and like,
what if said Doctor Doom 15 years ago?
Not now.
Yeah, not now.
Boy, insane. Magneto, maybe.
Maybe Magneto.
Movies,
maybe Dr. Octopus.
But Venom's look is so specific and so striking.
And he was so popular in the 90s and so big in so many games.
That
is a surprisingly restrained Venom, though.
Yeah, I don't like.
I
the
like
art.
that.
Oh yeah. So actually, one day I made a video of this, and it's yet to be edited as of right now. But like this early days of Venom, because we're in 91 and he debuted in 88. Yeah, it says here 88. But like those early days of Venom, he doesn't have the crazy teeth. I mean, teeth, sure, but
he didn't
not
have green slime and a giant tongue.
Like that's an Eric Larson thing, and there's not the tongue and the teeth and the crazy unhinged python jaw. It's just It's a twisted version of Spider-Man with sprinkled eyes and like
bigger muscles,
bigger
and teeth, and a big happy grin,
and
on
a big
his
like
face.
creepy smile, and like outside of that, that's really it. And this is still when Venom is like peak popularity. There's no Carnage yet. He's not like being an anti-hero. He's just a villain that doesn't care about anything but embarrassing and ruining Peter Parker and Spider-Man, because those two together ruined both Eddie Brock and the symbiote's life.
Mm-hmm.
So they joined together to make Venom, and I pointed this out on episode of 30-2010 again, and everybody knows this. Well, most people watching this would know, but his name is a journalism joke because he's a nerd. He was a reporter, and he faked a story, the Sin Eater, of the real identity of the Sin Eater. Peter Parker, as Spider-Man, goes like, I know that's not the real guy.
Yeah.
So he's ousted as a journalist. He can't get work. He has to write for trashy tabloids, and he's like, I was forced to spew venom for a living, and that's why we call ourselves, because that's what we're paid to make now. Because you ruined my life. You could have just let this go and no one would have known, and this guy was guilty of something else anyway. Well, whatever. But it was more like, it's not Venom like, I'm going to get you with my sting. I'm poison. It's like, he had to write for basically the Inquirer or Star Magazine. Like, I'm ashamed of what I write is Venom's plight.
I love Venom. I wish he had stayed a villain, but he became too
She
popular.
stayed a struggling writer.
But I always think of him as one level higher than Spidey in strength. I always think of that because
he is.
He is already a buff dude who then has Spider-Man level strength put on top of it.
Half his intelligence.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, he gets tricked by a pile of bones. Like, he's a crazy person. He just gets shown a pile of bones with Spider-Man's costume and like, well, I must have killed him.
I mean, I would have been convinced by that. A gigantic explosion, and then
I suppose.
what is that? 347?
That's 340. Well, I think 342. I think it's about 8 more issues until Larson's off the book, and then he also kind of becomes an alien, an HR Gear type alien too. There's a lot more of that design gets in there later, but I like him as just the Spider-Man costume with a grin that appears.
Yep,
it's nice
so
and
much
simple.
fun. I love that version of Venom, and the crazier it gets, the less into it I am. But Bagley is kind of like the last version of Venom that I'm like, all right, create some teeth, some wacky tongue, and even though we both talked about how much we love Eric Larson's Spider-Man, his Venom is where you start to get just the crazy nonsense.
Totally.
Moving on. Wow. Big shift.
This is the most powerful guy to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the only cosmic being they really put in here because Infinity Gauntlet is what kind of reintroduces a lot of those characters into 90s Marvel.
Yeah, we're not getting Chaos and Order. We're not getting Ego, the Living Planet. We're not getting any cosmic.
And then if you think the Series 3 ahead of this, there's a whole Cosmic Beings section of the trading card set because that stuff got so popular.
It's the difference between pre and post Infinity Gauntlet. Like, that is it.
What?
But big surprise, Galactus is just off the charts.
I think his stamina is one because he is always hungry. I believe that.
Yeah, it is like
he gets tired very fast.
He can't operate at peak efficiency long at all, and has to almost immediately move on to the next planet, which is where that stamina thing comes from. Like he's got it in him for like one great fight. You can't touch him, and even when he's weak, it's not like you can kill him.
The Jack Kirby and Stanley created him to be the ultimate. Like, basically, God has come to Earth and he's going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
The end.
And he's not here out of evil malice. He's just like, I'm hungry and I eat planets. Sorry, dog. That's what I do.
You're one of many. I just always eat these planets.
Beautiful mythology created in Earth X is something you recommended to me.
Yeah, that's
where,
fun.
Like, something that all planets are harnessing are within planets that Jesus.
The Celestials.
Have something that's inside a planet. Human beings are essentially there to protect it.
They're
And
antibodies.
The closer someone like Galactus gets to it, the more we react to fight him off. However, the atomic age of the 50s exacerbated all superpowers around it. It's an explanation for the entire Marvel universe.
It's really fun,
revolving around Galactus and eating the planets.
Yeah, and then it explains like why Galactus is doing what he's doing and like how he is a balance to the universe. Because you always hear like he's a balance and he's too important and we can't lose Galactus. And it's like
that happened because John Byrne did a story where Reed Richards saves Galactus, and everybody's like, "You are history's greatest monster. You have let loose cosmic genocide." And so then they had to do a follow-up story of John Byrne putting Reed on cosmic trial, and then basically the universe has to appear and say, he has to exist, and he is, and so don't blame Reed Richards.
Is it Eternity? Or
it is Eternity.
Wow, that's great.
And then,
who is this guy? Vet his sources.
Also, I never realized that he had such pouty lips.
Oh, baby.
That's an Art Adams one there too.
60.
Yes!
Ooh, boy.
Beloved Mandarin.
Yeah, he's not
You
dated
won't
at all.
see him coming.
I feel like we'll talk. I feel like we'll talk more about him. The only interesting thing about him, really, on another card later in this.
Yeah.
But he's a Fu Manchu character who was. I mean, in 1977, I think he would have been dated. Like by 91.
Yeah,
it's like
it is weird. A direct descendant of Genghis Khan, and his main thing is like as a foil to Iron Man, you have.
Yellow Panic?
A guy who hates all technology. He hates modern technology. And if you tie when Iron Man is tied to Vietnam as his creation, that also makes more sense that the Mandarin would be his enemy, that he would have an ancient Asian enemy. But he is just totally like the inscrutable East. What will he do?
When you ask about famous Marvel villains, I went through the on-screen characters, and I'm just like, Iron Man's most famous villain, the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Nowhere close to Venom. Yeah.
I mean, they made him the arch enemy of his toy line not long after this came out.
Yeah, and then the cartoon makes his skin like green. And it's weird.
It is weird.
But like we said, a subsequent video from now, we'll talk about why he's a foil really at all with his magic rings. Although the magic rings are basically technology, which is why I never really understood his magic versus machinery thing, because it's like, well, your rings aren't actually magic.
No, they're space, and it also just makes him seem like you're too stupid to know these are from space, you idiot. You think they're from,
but it says he finds them at a UFO or something.
Maybe
so
he does know that.
I think he knows. It's just
they made him a business guy in a recent reboot of him, which I think is one of his last appearances before they just go like, no more Mandarin.
He has got to be a soft bank executive.
So as approved, as currently is the status in MCU, there is a Mandarin. Like there was the.
I never saw
Mandarin,
the one shot. But
the real Mandarin is still a guy, you just never see him.
Yeah.
But I doubt they'll ever be followed up on.
And moving on is 61, the Chameleon.
Yes.
Such a great card.
It's really good.
It's just him sitting in a sofa chair.
Oh, hi! I didn't see you come in.
This room is very affordable.
Everybody else has this cool action card. He's like, man, just waiting for you here. Hey. Yeah, he's his name was unknown. This was before it was revealed that he was the adopted brother of Kraven, and or actually no, he is the real brother of Kraven, the real life brother of Kravenoff, and he had always been wanting to be just like his older brother, but couldn't do it, so he just started imitating himself, which. He is his claim to fame is he is Spider-Man's first Superman.
That's the trivia I wouldn't have been able to
Amazing
answer.
Spider-Man #1.
Wow.
But it was such like a lame power. He was like, I can wear masks. Anybody can do that.
He really likes Lon Chaney Sr., so if you have a trivia contest at your local pub.
That's great. But it's like, as Spider-Man, specifically his power is to root out what is dangerous and what isn't.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't care what Chameleon's dressed as. If he gets close to Spider-Man, his spider sense is going to go off. Like, that's the guy.
Hey, who's that Voldemort-looking guy?
Well, the first issue of Spider-Man is a dual story one. So first it's him with the Fantastic Four, then it's him facing the Chameleon. So the Chameleon has to be lame enough to be beaten in 10 pages. And that's kind of where he's at. Vulture is his first real enemy.
Yeah, because Doctor Doom is pretty early in #5, I think, or something like that.
Though by this point, I think they were making it like, oh, he has a button he presses that just transforms his body, which is... It made it way more lamer. Now he is back to wearing masks. He wears masks.
Oh, really?
He's not a shapeshifter. He's a costumer.
Ah. Moving on, the Super Skrull.
Wow, what a change in power levels here.
Oh, yeah, wow.
I love that he is adjacently cosmic, but he's also can be a terrestrial threat.
Yeah, and he's not Clerked yet.
No, he hasn't got his name of Clerked, but that is the Super Skrull created to first appear in Fantastic Four 18 to have every Fantastic Four power. It was so cool. One of my favorites as a kid of like, he can do it all. He's got an invisible leg and a fire leg and a rock arm and a stretch arm.
And because he's in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, he's the only character I own a mini made of.
Oh yeah,
that has and like every part you pull off is just like just would look like a piece of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But Clerk's problem is he's just a soldier. Like he's not. He can't think of the big picture. He's not a major. He's a major power level threat to them. But he's usually just a tool of somebody else.
Yeah. He had a decent run. Was it Annihilation? He had like a 4-issue miniseries.
He was one of the
really
four
liked it.
heroes of it.
Yeah, that was fun.
He was good, but he was the weakest of the three. I liked Nova, Ronin, and Drax. All had better storylines.
But yeah, Super Skrull was very visually. I'm sure it's either very fun or a giant pain in the ass to draw. I couldn't tell you which way to go. But Super Skrull. Moving ahead, the Grim Reaper, who is the brother of Wonder Man,
as we saw in Wonder Man's
The most
card.
durable man on the planet. Apparently,
what the hell?
That's ridiculous levels. Well, I mean, because he's just kind of a super zombie at this point. He didn't start out that way.
So,
he started out as just a guy with what's that level?
indestructible, almost impossible to injure. He would almost.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
I mean, he started off as a guy with a just a dude in a costume with missing an arm that had a scythe on it. That was it.
Yeah.
And then he got a more powerful scythe, and then he died. And when he came back, he became a agent of death, so he got death magic power.
I see.
And so that's why he's looking like a bit of a corpse here. See, being a pure supernatural evil, he stalks the world of the living in search of fresh victims.
Wow.
So
And he's in the Data East Avengers game. Like briefly, I think you fight him as one of the bosses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, to make him an Avengers level threat, to be like, how will this guy fight all the Avengers? They
Infinite
kinda had to.
durability.
Yes, they had to.
Yes.
They had to make him an agent of death, but he's never been popular. He's never been popular.
Moving ahead, Mojo. Pray for
Mojo.
Pray for Mojo.
Wow.
So beautiful.
I cannot believe he has his own card.
Yeah, so this is I mean he's from Longshot 85 is when he debuted, but like he was big in the X-Men cartoon, which even at this point of these cards, the 90s Fox cartoon is still a year away. So like I think when I saw this card initially, I had no idea who Mojo was, and he's basically just like evil TV executive with spider legs.
He's kind of a social commentary. He gets to be like, now his reality TV shows are just reality now, but it's like, it's murder TV!
Yeah, whatever bitter situation you want to show, you imply that the world wants to see this, thereby you, the reader, are guilty.
Everybody wants to. I just think of his cartoon voice, too. But he's one of those characters writers love when they want to tell a fourth wall breaking story that he can say, man, I might have to cancel this book. Spider-Man's not as popular, bringing the popularity I thought.
A book I really liked. Did you ever read Wolverine?
Wolverine Spider-Man. It's
yeah.
great. He's great in it. Yeah, that's an amazing comic. Check it out. Wolverine and Spider-Man.
I cannot believe I pulled that out. I thought I was wrong.
Jason Aaron and Adam Kubert. But at this point, he started as just the arch villain of Longshot, and then he just became kind of a full-on X-Man villain.
Which I realized Longshot didn't even have a card in this set. He was in the last set. He was in Series 1.
Mentioned repeatedly.
And Mojo wasn't. And now Mojo's in it, and Longshot is not.
I did have that Mojo toy, but I lost all his little legs.
I did the Build-A-Figure where I put all the pieces together, and it sat on my desk for probably 10 years, and then when I left, I was like, this can just stay wherever it lands. And I loved it. It was great. I was just like, I don't have a place for this anymore. But, man, Mojo. What a weird design. But
he never was really in any games, though. His Spiral was in Marvel vs. Capcom.
The six-armed lady.
But yeah, cool, but not that much story.
But yeah, he's like in an alternate dimension where he just rules like the whole thing as a giant TV show, and everyone lives or dies by his whim. Fin Fang.
I love Fin Fang Foom. Got a card here. Fin Fang Foom predates Silver Age Marvel. Well, by like a minute, but he like it says there, October 61, he is a giant dragon monster with purple pants.
Yeah, who's not wearing pants in this one.
Oh my god.
Well, it looks like they drew the pants maybe, but they're green.
But I have a feeling our Hart Adams drew him without pants. They're like, no, he's got to have his pants.
He is 2 speed notches beneath Galactus. Is that... That's all there is. It's a little bit of momentum separating him, Fin Fang Foom, from Galactus.
Galactus could eat Fin Fang Foom for dinner. Like the Fin Fang Foom is really good.
Yeah.
He was created when Monster Comics were all the rage.
Yeah.
Monster Comics in the 50s were outselling superhero comics 3-1. Well, that's a made-up number.
So we had to shut him down.
Well, and so Marvel was just getting before they got into depressed superheroes, their business was monsters, like Twilight Zone style monster comics, romance. Those were their two. That was their bread and butter, and that's why Fin Fang Foom got to be grandfathered in, because he was in one of their many strange tales, tales to astonish, amazing fantasy, serialized comics that had one and done superheroes. He was, or not superheroes, monsters, and he was the best of the monsters, I would say. A Jack Kirby design, perfect, giant purple underpants.
I'm not sure if I've ever encountered him. And
he was in it was like 10 years ago more, but the Next Wave Agents of Hate had a fun encounter with Fin Fang Foom.
That feels new to me, but it was like 2004.
Yeah, it was like 0405, something like that. But Fin Fang Foom. I love that art. That's fun. Very monstrous.
I love all the crags on him.
Yeah.
And especially that close up of his face. He's like,
very like Never-Ending Story looking face of like, whoa,
nothing.
So I can't believe
craggy face.
Can't believe Jigsaw got his own card.
Punisher was huge, and he had one. Well, actually, there's another. There's even a bigger Punisher loser in here. But,
is there?
But he is the Punisher's Joker, even though he's not that cool.
No, he's just a villain who got thrown through a window and it messed up his face. They stitched his face back together.
It's Joey Buttafuoco with scars.
And
he's not a good villain for Punisher. He's just another. Punisher's villains are all mobsters he eventually murders. And Jigsaw's just like, well, he didn't murder me. I'm still alive. And it's just like, it was funny to see the ways he would fail to murder Jigsaw when he killed everybody else.
Yeah.
That's another Bagley and Manley there, which I think he got good face on both of those. Like, you at least get the character of his face.
And he's in the second movie, right? The Warzone movie?
Well, technically he's in the first movie too. John Travolta's character becomes Jigsaw. The end of the first movie is his face getting messed up, and he was going to be Jigsaw.
Really? Oh my goodness.
What a mistake.
And
everything about it.
As he gets dragged by his pants into an exploding car lot.
In that Miami Punisher story you always wanted to see.
Yeah. And then Jigsaw will be in the Netflix series, I do believe. They got to have some villain for him.
I can't think of who else you would put the Punisher
They already killed Clancy Brown, so...
The Kingpin's in jail.
Yep.
I mean, eventually you get to Bullseye, but when Bullseye comes, like, that's got to be the wrap-up. Like, Bullseye is too... Once you go down that road,
your grounded Netflix series leaves the ground.
You can't escalate it anymore.
Yeah, you can't escalate Daredevil. Like Typhoid Mary, I guess, but who I like, but that's getting into pyrokinesis and like you're bending the rules.
He sought to create an army of Punishers. What a weird dream.
What a weird mugging shot of hello.
I feel like they just do two faces of Two-Face.
What?
Anyway.
So Tombstone is a classic Web of Spider-Man character where like he is threatening in the most limited sense imaginable.
Wait, is he actually just an albino?
Yeah, he's actually a black man who became
an albino.
Yes, but
I just thought there was metal skin or evidence of an alien world, but
he's an albino who's given granite strong skin.
Okay,
that's his name, Tombstone.
And
he grew up in the mean streets of New York with Joey Robbie Robertson. So, as in the editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle.
Yeah, and he's got low-level superhuman strength, very high durability, and he's fairly slightly smarter or whatever, or normal intelligence, I guess, but just. Web of Spider-Man, he was just like a mob boss kind of person or an enforcer kind of character that could kind of, hang with Spider-Man a little bit. Like if he got a good punch in or took him by surprise, maybe.
But, Tombstone was... The Web of Spider-Man series, at least in about the issue 35 up to over 100, it was the Spider-Man fights organized crime one. Like he fought Silvermane, he fought the Rose, he fought Tombstone. He fought all these mobsters, and so they needed
Molten Man.
The Hammerhead. He fought all the goofy mobsters, and Tombstone was one of them. Though one of my favorite Tombstone ones is when he comes back from being beaten by Spider-Man for the first time, and he's like, "No, I'm going to reclaim. Like Kingpin's out, I'm going to reclaim it. This was a Spectacular Spider-Man," and Spider-Man beats him by webbing up a giant web thing on his fist and then punching him with like this super oversized fist. And then he falls. it takes him a minute for it to hurt. It's like a dinosaur, but then when he falls, he falls.
I want to
Tombstone's not bad. I wouldn't be. He's fine.
And I want to compliment the mystery of the card. I did notice the feet on the ground, which implies he's either murdered or knocked somebody out, and who knows? Let's leave it ambiguous.
It is weird though, like he's barely the focus because like you can see him head to toe, but like you don't get a sense that he's like got
nothing imposing about
granted tough skin or anything.
He might as well be sitting in an easy chair next to a low lit lamp.
Yeah, what kind of nerd would do that? 68.
I love Ulick, man. He's one letter off from the Hulk, but he's. I'm shocked he hasn't been in the Thor films. Like, they need
not a lot of Thor villains have.
I guess, yeah. They just need a big guy for Thor to punch for a while, and that's what Ulick is. There's not much to him. He's just a super strong, super tough troll.
Those are impressive stats.
Gets beat up. Yeah, he's got that Asgardian bump, where you're just like, you're not necessarily smarter or faster than anyone, but you're immediately stronger and more durable.
Well, you just need a guy who can wail on Thor, and who Thor can wail on in turn. Like, that's all you need.
Yep. His excellent infrared vision lets him see perfectly in the dark, like a wolf. Or some other animal that has infrared vision.
Wouldn't you pick a character who lives in caves? I guess wolves sort of live in caves, but
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if wolves are actually infrared. I thought it'd be a great joke. And here we are in a world that didn't quite work out.